The meeting starts at 9 a.m. and ends in 3 hours. You are 31 years old. You have $28,000 in a savings account at Chase paying 4.2% annually. You have been told this is smart. You have been told this is responsible. The banker across the table has a lanyard and a printed summary of your account, and he is telling you that your money is working hard for you. You begin, for the first time, to ask a different question. Not where is the safest place to put money, but how do the people who never worry about money actually hold it? The answer, when you find it, is not complicated. It is simply invisible to anyone who has never been shown where to look. Level 1. The first principle. A contact from work invites you to dinner. His name is Marcus. He is 49. He owns a commercial cleaning company operating across 3 states, $11 million in annual revenue. He does not seem particularly interested in money as a topic. He is interested in his boat, a remodel in Scottsdale, his son's baseball travel team. Over dinner, he mentions he has not taken a W-2 salary in 5 years. You ask him how that works. He explains it the way people explain things they stopped finding remarkable years ago. The company pays for the vehicle, registered as a business asset and expensed accordingly. The company covers his phone, his travel, a portion of meals classified under business development. His health insurance runs through the business at pre-tax rates. His retirement contributions flow into a solo 401k at limits nearly 4 times what a standard employee can contribute annually. His personal income arrives as distributions from his S-Corp, taxed at a rate meaningfully lower than ordinary income. He has borrowed against the company's assets twice to fund real estate acquisitions without triggering a personal income event either time. He has not avoided a single dollar of tax illegally. 2 CPAs and a business attorney have confirmed everything is fully compliant. He simply arranged his affairs so that money flows through structures rather than through his hands directly. Every time money passes through a person's hands personally, it is taxed at the highest applicable rate. The wealthy minimize those moments of passage, not by hiding, by designing. You ask him when he started thinking this way. He says he didn't. His uncle built a landscaping business in the 80s and structured it this way from the beginning. Marcus inherited the logic before he inherited anything else. He has simply maintained and expanded it. The first rule. Cash is the most taxed, most visible, most eroded form of wealth there is. The wealthy do not hold cash. They hold the things that generate cash, inside structures that control when and how that cash is ever recognized as income. Level 2. The structure. You spend the next 2 years learning what you were never taught. Not investment books, corporate structure, tax code. The difference between earned income and passive income. Between a W-2 and a K-1. Between personal ownership and business ownership. Between a gain you realize and a gain you defer. Between an asset sitting on your personal balance sheet, visible and fully taxable, and an asset held inside an LLC or S-Corp where it compounds quietly, patient, sheltered from the moment of recognition until you choose otherwise. You form an LLC. You are consulting part-time alongside your employment. The LLC earns $41,000 in its first year. You deduct a home office, equipment, software, a portion of your vehicle mileage, professional development. Your taxable net income from the entity is $27,000. You contribute the maximum to a SEP IRA. Your effective tax liability on $41,000 of economic activity is less than half of what it would have been received as ordinary W-2 income. You do not spend what you save on taxes. You retain it. You let it accumulate inside the structure. The retained capital can be invested. It can serve as a down payment on a commercial property the LLC acquires and leases. It can fund the next business asset. The money does not leave the structure. It circulates within it, compounding, never appearing on your personal 1040 until the moment you decide. You begin to understand something that no savings account comparison tool will ever show you. Wealth is not a number, it is a container. The container determines how fast the number inside it grows. Level 3. The asset. You are 39. The consulting LLC has become a real business. 6 clients, 3 contractors, $380,000 in annual revenue. The company owns a small commercial property in Nashville, purchased 5 years ago for $240,000, now valued at $370,000, generating $22,800 annually in rent paid by a tenant on a 5-year triple net lease. You do not think about the property the way you used to think about your savings account. You think about it as a machine. It produces income monthly. It secures borrowing. It appreciates over time inside a corporate structure that defers capital gains until the day you choose to trigger them, which may be never, because a 1031 exchange allows you to roll the gain into the next property indefinitely, deferring the tax event across decades, possibly permanently. The property is also collateral. You borrow $140,000 against it at 6.1% to fund the down payment on a second commercial unit. The rent on the second unit covers the debt service and produces a monthly surplus. The surplus accumulates inside the LLC. You have used the first asset to create a second asset without selling anything, without triggering a tax event, without a single dollar leaving your personal account. This is the mechanism the wealthy understood before you were ever taught to open a savings account. Not because it was hidden, because it was never explained to anyone who didn't already know someone who knew. The second rule: an asset inside a structure compounds in 4 directions simultaneously. It generates income, it secures borrowing, it appreciates, and it defers the tax liability until the moment of your choosing. Cash compounds in one direction only and loses ground to inflation the entire time it waits. Level 4. The transfer. You are 53. The holding company has 3 subsidiaries. The operating business, now billing $2.4 million annually. The real estate entity, holding 5 commercial properties and 1 small mixed-use development, acquired 2 years ago. A third entity holding a diversified equity portfolio and a position in a private credit fund, returning 9.1% annually. Total assets inside the group, $6.8 million. Your personal W-2 income, 0. Your personal tax return is unremarkable. Nothing on it reflects the actual scale of your economic position, because your economic position lives inside companies, not inside you personally. You begin transferring membership interests to your children. Slowly, using the annual gift tax exclusion. Applying valuation discounts for lack of marketability and lack of control, standard and legally recognized, reducing the taxable value of each transfer. The ownership moves. The tax does not arrive. The structure is being passed the way structures are always passed by families who understand what they are actually transferring. Your children will not inherit cash. They will inherit machines. Machines that generate income, secure borrowing, appreciate quietly, and defer the moment of taxation indefinitely. They will maintain the machines. They will add to them. The wealthy do not build wealth once. They build structures that continue building after they stop. The third rule: the goal is never to accumulate enough cash to feel safe. The goal is to own something that runs after you stop running it. Cash ends. A well-structured company holding real assets, with the right legal architecture around it, does not end. It transfers. The account that earns nothing. Somewhere tonight there is a savings account. $28,000, 4.2% interest. A lanyard. A printed summary. A banker explaining that the money is working hard. The person sitting across the table is 31. They are intelligent, responsible. They have done everything they were told to do with money. They have not been told about the structure. Nobody in their family has ever owned a business. Nobody ever explained the difference between holding cash and holding the thing that generates cash inside a wrapper that controls when the government sees it. They will leave that meeting feeling reassured. The reassurance will cost them more over the next 30 years than any bad investment ever could. Somewhere across town, a 9-year-old is having dinner, talking about his boat, his son's baseball team, a remodel in Scottsdale. He has not drawn a salary in 5 years. He is not thinking about money at all. That is the entire point.